Hi everybody, it's Kenzy Knoxx and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'll be painting this lovely landscape painting with a cabin in it, and it is a winter landscape painting and it should be fun and relaxing, so sit back, relax, and let's start painting. To begin off with, add a few colors to your palette including titanium white, phthalo blue, and maybe some magenta and some crimson red. Taking some phthalo blue, some white, and some crimson red, we're going to create a light blue purpley shade. I'm going to start painting that up on the top portion of our sky. But before doing that, let's take a water bottle and spritz down our canvas so that we have a sort of wet surface to work on. And so after spritzing that off, make sure there's no drips. Take your paintbrush. I'm using a large 36 size filbert brush, and I'm just going to paint along the top portion of the canvas and bring that down just slightly. Then I'm going to pick up some magenta and some white and blend that in with that light blue purpley shade that we made, and then start applying that. Then picking up simply just light magenta or magenta and white, I'm going to start painting that to the canvas too, and bringing that down even further. And continue down your canvas till you're almost at the bottom, ending up with simply magenta and white. We will be adding a mountain to the left side of our canvas, so don't worry too much about that. So taking some phthalo blue and my size 6 flat brush or bright flat brush, we're going to just paint in a mountain that kind of just goes straight over from the left side to the right and then swoops down and ends on the right side. So it goes all the way across. And we're just going to fill that in with some phthalo blue and some crimson. We're going to create a dark purple shade. We're also going to take that dark purple shade. I'm going to start painting in a river at the bottom of the canvas. So take that shade of purple and just start painting in this area down here. Not going all the way to the bottom, but covering that last 1/3 portion of the canvas. Just that like 2-inch section of canvas. And you don't want to bring that all the way across, just bring it partially across, just marking about where the river will be. We'll be using this color to actually paint in the entire river. So if you want, you can paint that all the way across. I'm sorry, you can if you want to. But going back to the mountain, we're just going to fill that all the way in until we're satisfied. I went down to the river because my paint wasn't dry yet and it was difficult to paint the top part of the mountain. But take your time. If it's not dry, you can dry it off and then paint it in, or you can just try to paint it in like I did. Once you're done filling in the river and the mountain, you can go ahead and add a little bit of white to that purple shade that we created. And using my size 2 filbert brush, I'm just going to start creating in the light areas of the mountain, so like where the snow is laying or reflecting off of the sun. And we're just putting in the highlights of the mountain. Adding a little red to that shade. We're also going to add in some pinker shades of this color, so add in some magenta to that blue color, and then we'll add in some more highlights too. This isn't how I typically paint in a mountain, so it's kind of a new way that I was testing out, seeing if I liked. A lot of this mountain will be covered, so you don't have to worry too much about it. Usually I just take a large flat brush and then kind of use it like a palette knife to create the little highlights of the mountain. But in this case, I decided to go to a more detailed route, but I'm not sure if I like it as much as my typical mountains. You can choose whichever method you find easier, using a palette knife, using a paintbrush, whichever way you feel is comfortable, please use that way. And once you're done with the highlights on your mountain, you can go ahead and rinse off your brush and get ready for the next step, which will be painting in the trees. And so in order to paint the trees in, we'll need some phthalo blue and some dioxazine purple, as well as some crimson red. So go ahead and mix those three colors together, and then we're just going to draw in some pine trees or some evergreens. And we're going to paint in some small ones starting off, and they'll get larger as they travel over to the left. These ones are going to be in the very distance, so they're not going to have much detail. Once you're done with the small trees on the right, we're going to move over to the left and start drawing in our large trees. And so at this time, I'm going to switch over to my fan brush, my size 2 fan brush, and I'm just going to start tapping in the foliage. Using a fan brush on these larger trees is a lot quicker and a lot easier. But use whatever type of brush you feel comfortable with, whether it's a filbert, or a fan brush, or a flat brush, or whichever way you feel comfortable. At this point, I decided to add one more large tree in right over here, covering some of the background trees, and that's absolutely fine. You can add as many large trees as you want. You could even carry them all the way over to the right if you wish. But once I'm done with this tree, I'm going to go ahead and rinse off my brush, grab a smaller brush, and just add in some smaller details towards the background. Once you're done adding in the background trees, go ahead and rinse off your brush, grab your small fan brush again, and pick up some light blue violet, and we're going to start highlighting some of the trees with some snow. And so we're going to apply the snow in the same method that we created the trees, which is just tapping in the foliage, or tapping in the little snow drifts or whatnot. And once you're done covering the trees with snow, go ahead and rinse off the brush, put that away. Grab that dark purple color that we created with phthalo blue, crimson, and perhaps even some dioxazine purple, and draw in the landline so that it covers the trees. We really want those trees to be in the background and not the foreground. Using some light blue violet and a little bit of light magenta, mix those two together, and we're just going to paint over this section right here. Using some turquoise and phthalo blue, I thought it'd be a good idea to use this shade down here, but I end up painting over this, but go ahead and paint this in if you wish, but you really can skip this step. Once you're done painting this in, go ahead and rinse off your brush, grab your size 6 flat brush with some white on the top of it, just the tip of the brush, and we're going to start painting in our winter cabin. Once you figured out the shape of your house and you've added in, or the cabin, you can add in some awnings, which I've done here on both sides of the house that are showing, as well as add this little white thing right here on the top of the house. You can also fill in your roof with white because it'll be covered in snow. And we'll have to go over this in several layers because, as we all know, acrylic dries darker than it is, and white needs to be painted on several times, or there needs to be several coats of white in order for it to show through really brightly. I'll also take that darker blue purple color and create a chimney, and then paint in the rest of the house. Or cabin, I'm sorry. I keep saying house, I mean cabin. Once you're done painting in your cabin, you can go ahead and rinse off your brush and grab that snow color that we created with that light blue violet and magenta color, or light magenta, and we're just going to add in some snowbanks in front of the house and in the foreground or midground area. And then clean off your brush and grab some white, and we're just going to go over the awning of the cabin real quickly. And then you can rinse off your brush again and get ready for the next step. So I figured that that turquoise color wasn't correct, nor was the snow color correct. So I mixed some primary blue with some crimson and some white and came up with this other blue shade that is more fitting for the painting. So I'm going to go ahead and paint in the snow with this new shade of blue and red and white. And once we do that, we'll highlight the snow as well. And once you've covered all the areas on this top area of the snowbanks, we're going to start painting in the bottom part of our canvas, the very bottom, with that same blue shade that we just created. And once you're done creating that snowbank, we're just going to take some of that primary blue and red and create a very dark purple shade and just paint in this part of the river. We'll eventually cover this part of the river with that initial dark purple shade that we created with the phthalo blue and crimson, as well as the that purple shade. In fact, we're going to do that now, so go ahead and grab that initial dark purple blue shade that we created when we first created our mountain, and we're going to go ahead and create, we're going to finish off with the river that we first painted. So go over that purple shaded area that we just painted to, and make sure that it's kind of semi-dry when you're painting over it, so it doesn't really blend the colors, but you really want this area to be very dark. And once you're done painting your entire river, make sure you clean off your brush thoroughly, and then we can pick up some white and start creating our windows and our doors for the cabin. And so I just placed a window up top on the right side of the house, and then I just painted in the door under that small awning. And then I'm going to add several other windows into the front right side of the house, as well as several on the left side of the house as well. I also decided to extend this window to make it a large, maybe a bay window of some sort, just a large window that would shine lots of light outside of the cabin. I thought that would be real nice. And I also decided to add more windows to this side of the house, extending it over further, and then add another window to the very far left side of the house. Next, taking that white paint that we were just using, we're just going to go over the roof again. So just add some more paint to the roof, as well as to the awnings that are over the windows and the door. And once you're done touching up all the sides of the house and the white that you wanted to touch up, we're going to mix up some primary blue and some white and tap in some highlights over the trees again, where the snow would be brighter than the highlights that we initially created. So you can tell that the color we're applying right now is a lot brighter than the color that was underneath it. And we will go another shade of maybe perhaps pink to match the sky as a reflection of the sky on the trees. But we're just adding this highlight on the top portion of the trees because those would be the most highlighted areas. And once you're done highlighting with this light blue color, we're going to switch on over to a light pink color. So take a little bit of white and some fluorescent pink and make a very light pink shade. And we're going to go over these baby blue highlights with the pink highlights to reflect the sun sky, or the sun in the sky, or the pink sky that we have. And then once you're done with that, take your size 6 flat brush again and go on over the roof with some titanium white. And don't forget the little alcove areas. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of light blue to the little alcove or awning area, and then take some light pink and add that to the awning area as well. These are just reflecting from the sky, so we're going to add a touch to the roof too. And then to the sides of the house. I then took a mixture of phthalo blue, a little bit of red and white, and highlighted the snow mounds that are in front of the cottage area and behind the snow, or not the snow, the river, as well as in front of the river too. As you'll be able to see in about a second or two, the snow in front of the river is a lot more flat than the snow behind the river where there's mounds of snow. So try to make this area look more flat. I mean, you can add mounds of snow if you'd like, but I decided to make it look more flat. I then decided to take different variations of this color using less white and create some low lights in this area too. I realized after painting these that they kind of look like footsteps, which is kind of cool if that's the look you're going for. Taking some fluorescent pink and a little bit of white, I'm just adding some water lines to the river itself, trying to keep these lines as horizontal as possible. And these are just sort of like reflections, but not really. Well, I guess it could be a reflection of the snow on top of the water. But you just want to add these in to divide up the river from the snowbanks itself. And now I'm just going in with reflections themselves. These will be reflections from both the cabin and the sky, as well as the windows. And in doing so, I used a variation of pinks and blues, as well as fluorescent yellow and white, depending on what I'm reflecting in the water. So if I'm reflecting the windows, that'll be the fluorescent yellow and white. And if it's going to be the rooftop or the snow area, that'll be either pink or blue. And obviously the sky will be pink. Taking some more fluorescent yellow and white, I'm going over the windows again, just to add a little bit of color pop to these and also just make it more opaque. We don't want this to be see-through. Taking that fluorescent yellow and white coat, I'm now going over the snowbanks where the windows would be reflecting their light onto them. And now I'm reflecting the windows into the water, keeping those lines a little bit shaky and a little bit wiggly, so you're just wiggling in some paint into the river. And you can bring that paint all the way across the river if you'd like, or you can stop halfway. It's really up to you on how you want your reflections to look. After painting in those reflections, I took a flat brush and quickly just wiped over them horizontally, just like an airbrushed, very light touch, just to create more like a water-like look. And then I continued on again with the more reflections in the water. Taking some fluorescent pink and white, I then added in some pink highlights to the water, as there's lots of pink reflecting everywhere, in the sky and on the rooftops and the awning, and now even the river. Taking some white and some fluorescent yellow, I decided to add some more reflections in the water as well as the snow itself. Once I was satisfied with those highlights, I took primary red and went over the door to create a red door. You can create a door of any color that you like. I just like red. And then don't forget about the reflection in the water, so I'm adding some red to the water. If you created your door in a different color, obviously add that reflection into the water of that color of your choice, or your choosing. And then adding some more fluorescent yellow and white, I decided to add some more highlights to the water again. And now taking a fine detail brush, I'm picking up some black and I'm going to go around little areas of the house with lines to create a shadowed like effect, to basically block in the house, or not block it in, but to line the details, the fine detailing of the house to make it stand out more. So that includes the windows, the rooftop, the door, the awning, everything that would have a shadow you want to line. Or not even a shadow, but a frame, like a window frame or a door frame. That's what you're trying to create. If you wish to create a window frame or door frame of a different color, you can go ahead and do that at this time as well. And then once you're done with framing the windows and the door, we can go ahead and create a chimney, or frame the chimney, as well as create a little bit of a shadow for the chimney. And then we're going to take some white and go and line the top of the chimney and the side of the chimney, as well as the side of the rooftop, just highlighting it some more, just giving it a brighter white look. And now we're going in with some pink and white, so add some fluorescent pink and white to your brush, and we're just going to add a bit of a shadow slash shine or reflection to the rooftop itself and to the sides of the house. And then I also decided to take some phthalo green and black and create some more evergreen trees in the far distance. It just looked a little barren to me. Remember to keep these short. You don't want them too tall because we want these to be in the very far background and not closer to the cabin. And then taking some light blue, violet, and white, I'm just adding some snow to the trees. And that should pretty much wrap up our painting. So I hope you enjoyed this YouTube tutorial. I know I did. Please give it a thumbs up and remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Okay, bye!